Well, good morning and welcome into the Real Monica Adams Show. How's your Tuesday starting? I hope great. It's been beautiful weather-wise. I hope you've had an opportunity to get out and enjoy it, especially Sunday. It was amazing. We were talking about how gorgeous the weekend was. Now we're getting into a little bit of a mixed bag of weather. We'll have our aspiring meteorologist Beckett Moore on with us again on Friday. He's fabulous, by the way. If you are new to the show, he has been recognized nationally by Fox Weather Channel, the National Weather Channel, as well as the Tamron Hall Show. And he's right here from our area, and we're so proud of him. Beckett Moore from DeSmet. That's right. He's a freshman in high school. Follow him on YouTube and X and get the most accurate weather. And then we're proud to say that he's part of our show for a year and a few months already. So he'll be back on with us on Friday. Until he's back on, we'll give you the weather, some news you can use. We've got some talkers that we want you to interact about. And then today is absolutely a day for you to interact with us. It's Generational Talk, and we started it back in December. That was huge with my team. Then we've gone out to different businesses and hit the streets, and we're hearing what you have to say in all generations. Today, it's the kids in college talking to us, what they want the generations before them to know about their generation. Are they tired of being called lazy? Entitled, that they're just given a job without putting in the hard work? Well, we'll hear from them coming up in just a little bit. Let's get to the weather. Here's what it looks like as you are getting ready to head out. And if you're outside of our area, by the way, just stay with us because coming up in just a few minutes, we'll get into our generational talk. So for those in Missouri, Illinois, our St. Louis side, 63, beautiful today, a little cooler than we had yesterday. We were in the 70s. We are going to see breezy conditions tonight as well as the Cards are in action, hitting 44 for a low. 71, so we are going to see the increase. In fact, we'll see 80s by the time we get into Friday. But look at this stretch of rain pretty much from Wednesday all the way through next Wednesday. So yes, we do have the possibility of some thunderstorms on Easter as the kids are out there trying to get those eggs. It might be a little wet for you. Thursday finally breaks the trend of rain as we hit 70 for next Thursday, not this week. Again, just expect low to mid 70s into the 80s as we go to get into the weekend. You're just going to have to deal with soggy conditions for the next several days. Okay, as we get into the news, a popular drug that you might be using to treat your dogs. Well, we've got some news that's just within the last 24 hours or so, people are talking about. So it's used to treat dogs, and it may come with some serious risk. This is according to the FDA. They're issuing a warning for adverse reactions. So pay attention to the screen here. For many Americans, their pets are their family, of course. So when pets become ill, the best care for them possible is wanted. Well, Librela, it's a popular drug for dogs that promises to ease pain from their canine osteoarthritis. According to the drug's maker, Librela has been used to treat more than 1 million dogs in the United States. Some call it a wonder drug. Others say, it's anything but that. Some pet owners are now sounding the alarm about Librela as veterinarians across the country continue to prescribe it. So we've got positive talk time coming up for you, and we're going to be asking Jessica and her veterinarian friends, what do they think? There's a person that lives in Holden, Missouri. He's also the owner of 4 happy hounds, all full of energy, ready to play. But he said he used to have 5 dogs. There was a rescue pup that his wife and he adopted back in 2018. And they said he fit in immediately. He was happy all the time. And then he began to struggle with hip dysplasia, leading them to turn their veterinarian for options. And then they put them on this Librela. It was launched in the U.S. a couple of years ago. Given once a month, works to block and control nerve growth as well as pain, improve mobility. Researchers reviewing the drug trial reports, they said after just giving 1 dose, they saw a huge difference, not from a good standpoint. According to the FDA, almost 4,000 dogs experience reports of adverse reactions. Of that number, wait for this, a total of 458 have died. That's a true shock. So again, we want to go more in depth into this when we are next with Jessica Cook. If you're not familiar, we do a segment called Positive Talk Time and all about your babies. So we'll be asking her about this and see what she has to say and what she wants to weigh in on as well. Yes, all of you that are signing on this morning, good morning to you. We're going to get into generational talk coming up in about 5 minutes. So get ready to hear what the kids have to say and then you weigh in on it as well. Well, there's a bill, and I agree with this one. There's so many things, like after the Super Bowl, everybody believes that that should be a holiday, right? Super Bowl Monday. Well, how about after Easter, after you're with your families? What do you think? Do you agree with this one? There was a bill that is aiming to make Easter Monday a federal holiday. And I've got Jenny in here with me. She's shaking her head and saying yes, after the kids and they're filled with all of their chocolates and, running around with the Easter eggs. Well, the Easter Monday Act of 2025 would establish the Monday after Sunday as a federal holiday. And according to Senator Schmidt, making Easter Monday a federal holiday would also break up the gap in federal holidays that exist between President's Day and Memorial Day. So, Senator Eric Schmidt, I hope you get your way. He introduced that bill to make Easter Monday a federal holiday, and we'll be following up to see if, in fact, it does happen. What about you? Do you all think that it should be made that, or do you think we're soft? Just get back to work and get back to school, kids. I like it. So I'm going to weigh in, raise my hand on, I hope Senator Schmidt gets his way. All right. This was very interesting. So Gayle King, do you know her? National broadcaster. Katy Perry, great singer. Well, that's two of the women on board this. Blue Origin, the rocket heads to space. Well, kinda, with an all-women crew, including Perry and King. It's a historic human space flight that launched yesterday from Texas, and the crew in the New Shepard rocket's 31st mission was all women. Besides Perry and King, Jeff Bezos' fiancee Lauren Sanchez, film producer Carrie Ann Flynn, former NASA rocket scientist Aisha Bowe, and bioastronautics research scientist Amanda Wynn. There were no pilots. It was a fully autonomous 11-minute journey above the international recognized boundary of space. The crew experienced weightlessness and witnessed views of the Earth through windows. It was the first all-female flight crew, by the way, since a solo flight was taken by a Soviet spacecraft back in 1963. But how cool was that, huh? I would love to sit down with Gayle King and say, how did you get picked for that? Katy Perry, I always wonder how they get picked for this, or if they have to buy their way in. All right, staying with the aviation theme, this one I want Jenny to weigh in on. So, and all of you, by the way, because Jenny's going to join me, my assistant, on Generational Talk today. But if a plane turns around, what do you think someone had to do on the flight to make that happen? And that is what happened here. This was actually a flight from New York City to Milan. It was an American Airlines flight, and an unruly passenger was forced to say, "You're getting off this plane, and here's why." So for 4 hours after Flight 198 took off from JFK International Airport, this happened back on April 7th, by the way, the pilot made an announcement, and you know that everybody in there was like, oh, come on, we're heading to Italy. I just want to get to my vacation. The pilot says the plane's turning back around to New York. This is according to CBS News, by the way. An unruly passenger forcing this flight to turn around. Witnesses say that the man was angry, wait for it, because he didn't get his preferred meal. And he was told he could not sit in an exit row with a baby. The FAA is now investigating the incident. Can I please bring Jenny in on this for just a second? So I was asking you, what do you think the guy did to have a plane turn around? Would you ever think it was that? I didn't get my chicken.
I mean, I wouldn't think it was that, but today nothing surprises me.
I mean, come on. Seriously?
Awful.
I didn't get my meal. I want to sit in an exit row with the baby. He had to do more than that.
I mean, and if you're getting ready to go on a vacation like that,
I would have been ticked. Now, I just went to Italy last fall. If if he was on my flight, I don't know, some fisticuffs would have happened.
Something.
All right, continue on. Again, we're giving you news you can use if you're tuned in to the Real Monica Adams Show. So I was mentioning the other day that with the price of eggs, that some parents are getting very creative, and they're saying, well, we can't use eggs, so we're going to have the kids dye potatoes and marshmallows. So this, Jet Puffed, they're hopping on here and selling $2 marshmallow dyeing kits for Easter, trying to help you out in this economy. Many kids, of course, love to dye the eggs. This, unfortunately, many are saying I can't do it because egg prices are so high, so we're going to get these marshmallows. And Jet Puffed released their dyeing kit just in time for the holiday. Again, it's only $2. It comes with a 24-ounce bag of extra large marshmallows, extra large, 6 colors, miniature tongs for dipping, and decorating pens for designs. The kits are being sold exclusively on Walmart's website and will be restocked daily. So I'm not a parent. What about all you, Jenny? Do you like this idea?
I think it's a great idea.
You do, huh?
I would totally do it.
Okay, so all I can think is that the kids are going to be like, What are you talking about? Eggs? We dyed
I
marshmallows.
mean, it's something fun. It's something different, right?
Well, hey, you got to shift when the
That's
economy
right.
is like it is. But
That's right.
for all of you parents, what do you think? Marshmallows, potatoes, or are you just going to go ahead and say eggs, but only a few eggs this year, not the entire dozen? Okay, this is a really sweet story. There's an 11-year-old that is battling a nervous system disorder, and he has an idol, and that idol plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, my Mahomies, and his wish is coming true. This is out of St. Louis, by the way. The dream of this 11-year-old was, I want to meet Patrick. And so this kid was informed during an event at the Dome at America Center that through the efforts of Make-A-Wish Missouri and Kansas alongside Spectrum and Explore St. Louis, way to go for all these organizations getting together. That meeting will soon be taking place. Ben's mother, Ashley, said that he was diagnosed at the age of 8 and he was undergoing a very long and fearful medical journey, but that's turning to hope. A date, by the way, for the meeting has not been announced, but you go, Ben. I'm so excited for you. And Patrick Mahomes really, truly does seem like just an incredible human being.
I agree with that.
Right?
I'm not a Chiefs fan, but I agree with
but
that.
you've got to love
He
him.
is an
Yeah,
amazing
even if you're
person.
tired, but he is. And I love him. So thank you, Patrick, for what you're doing. All right. It's do or die time. Tonight, the Blues in action. They must win. Otherwise, they are going to rely on so many other scenarios in order for them not to hit the golf course early. We want the season to continue. The Blues are in action, and they're actually at home tonight. They're playing against Utah. Let's go Blues. Do it. Let's go Blues. All right, let's go Blues. Let's do this, guys. The Cardinals finally bringing out the big bats. I want to know if they had those torpedo bats we've been talking about that the Yankees had. They are in action against the Astros at 6:45 first pitch. Big time, 8-3 beating Houston yesterday. And then the Astros and the Cardinals will play a businessman special or woman's. It's at 12:15 tomorrow. Okay, now let's give you the National Day of Calendar. And there's a lot, by the way. It's National Laundry Day. Isn't that every day?
Oh, that's awful.
I know, right?
It would make that
What's
a day.
Purple Up? Purple Up Day is also today. This is, again, National Glazed Spiral Ham Day. I'm not a ham fan. Are you?
No.
No. National Titanic Remembrance Day. Oh, I love that.
that's a good one.
National Rubber Eraser Day. Who comes up with these? National Take a Wild Guess Day. Okay, that'll be a good one today. We'll take a wild guess on a lot of these things these kids are talking about. And of course, if you haven't turned the calendar, it's April 15th. So what does that mean? It is National Tax Day. Yes.
Dun, 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 dun.
Exactly. All right, everyone. So that's the news you can use. And we bring that to you at the beginning of every show. We give you a little weather, give you some sports news, and National Day of. Okay, let's see. Let me go back to some comments here. Julie says, I gave my German Shepherd that shot. It helped the first month. Then I saw a decline in his health. We had to recently put him down in January. Oh, my gosh. Going back to what we were talking about with Librella once again. So we'll get more information about this as we talk with Jessica and our veterinarians. Julie says we get off Good Friday. Yep. Eggs are not more expensive for people who already buy the more expensive ones. We buy pasture raised, so they are just a few cents more. Okay. Rose, the Blues have to lay it all out tonight. I'd love revenue for St. Louis during the playoffs. No kidding. I mean, that's the thing. There's so many levels of this of why we want them to continue, but we don't want to see them go. Again, I said go to the golf course a little too early because they don't want the season to end either. All right, we're going to take our break. It is 7:15 on the nose. Time to get into generational talk. So do us a favor, text, call, get a hold of your friends and family. They're going to want to hear what the students have to say. So these are probably the things coming out of your own kids' mouths. You've heard these. And then now it's time for you. I don't care what age you are, every generation, younger or older, listen to this generation, what they have to say, because the reason we started this was all about respect.
That's right.
Listening what they're trying to say, and then us weighing in. We're going to weigh in, and I want you to as well. So don't go anywhere. Generational Talk, round 3, coming up.
Carroll House Furniture Homes look the best because of our free design service. Our designers please your taste.
Let's reimagine your room with 50 brand name choices.
We'll create a 3D design with a 360 view for your room.
Free design services are just the beginning. Free 0% financing, fast free delivery and setup, and the guaranteed lowest prices in the country with no stipulations.
You'll get a perfect custom floor plan for your new dream room.
Carroll House Design, because you like nice things.
Hello, everyone. Joe Thomaser with Weingarten Vineyard here. Just had a great day at the set of The Real Monica Adams Show. I think the biggest takeaway and the biggest word for the day for me is passion. You can see with her craft of how passionate that she is to provide a different view from what she had done in her past career, now in a new career. She made today so easy, and it was easy for me as well, because we share that passion for what we do. When it's doing interviews on set, giving a different view on life, essentially, and different experiences for you guys. Today could not have gone better. I most definitely encourage you guys to continue to tune in to her shows, and maybe you'll see me back again. You will see me back again. Sorry, Monica.
Carroll House Furniture Homes look the best because of our free design service. Our designers please your taste.
Let's reimagine your room with 50 brand name choices.
We'll create a 3D design with a 360 view for your room.
Free design services are just the beginning. Free 0% financing, fast free delivery and setup, and the guaranteed lowest prices in the country with no stipulations.
You'll get a perfect custom floor plan for your new dream room.
Carroll House Design, because you like nice things.
Discover your full potential with a personalized styling experience. Designing, customizing, and transforming the looks of men and women. Revamp your individual style and embrace what makes you, you. That's real confidence.
Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in to The Real Monica Adams Show. Okay, I'm serious now. Text everyone, call them, grandmas, parents, kids alike. They're going to want to hear what the kids are talking about. So I was so honored to speak at St. Charles Community College to about 200 people at the recent entrepreneurial symposium. Jerry Schultz, thank you so much for inviting me, as well as everyone that played a role that day. Great speakers and some wonderful minds that are our future leaders. Well, I got a wild hair and thought, let's do something fun here. So about 2 minutes before the next speaker got ready to come on stage, I jumped on stage with the kids and we taped 5 of them and said, do me a favor and just finish this sentence. And this is what we're having everybody do. Say your name, say where you're from, say your age, and then say, I wish this generation understood this about my generation. And it's getting us talking. And we've been doing this now. This is our 3rd installment of it, and it's been very popular. So I want you to listen, and then I want you to weigh in. We're going to start off with Gabriel. Part of my show, so you all need to watch because they're all going to be on here. Okay, so I want you to say your name, that you're a student here, and then say, I wish that this generation, whatever the generation is, understood this about my generation. You're all going to say the same thing, okay? Okay, go ahead.
I'm Gabriel Bell. I'm a student at SCC, and something that I wish that the older generations would understand is that sometimes we want to put in the effort to do things, but because of all of the competing interests and things that happen, there's a lot of things that grab our attention. And so it's not necessarily that you're lazy, it's more that you're distracted, if that makes sense. Because I know a lot of people that they kind of act like, oh, you're just lazy because you're not doing a thing. And it's more that you're just distracted from all the different things that can be done, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
Okay, interesting. So I listened to this one several times. Obviously, he said it to me live, and then we were putting this together for you this morning. I listened to the fact that they're saying they're not lazy. He's saying we're not lazy, we're distracted. So where do you go with that? Okay, so this is what I'm interested by. So do we need to teach them to focus more? Can they, now you know there's people that have weighed in before saying that they can't multitask, or that other people say that they can't multitask, or do they have so much coming at them? But didn't we all?
I just think that the devices are so distracting. There's so much, all the social media. Like, I just don't think that they know how to prioritize.
Juggle it all? Prioritize. Okay. So again, if you're just tuning in, we're doing generational talk. What do you think about Gabriel's comment? He was, by the way, very impressive. I mean, did you see him in
He
his
was,
suit?
yeah, very impressive.
And then in person, it
don't
was
see that
great
much.
eye contact. You could tell that he wants to go far in life. I actually told him that I want to talk to him about maybe doing an internship or maybe doing some social media marketing. He already had a card, like consulting, an LLC. So I would say he's pretty focused.
Yeah.
But there were several others. And again, you're going to hear from a handful of others. But my point in this is, haven't we all had a lot coming at us? Now, I guess I will agree with Jenny just said, is that there is more of this, the phones, the laptops, the iPads, the gaming.
Yep.
Is that that's a distraction that would take you into a negative aspect where there should be boundaries. As a parent, do you set boundaries of the time that your kids get to get on social media or be on their
Absolutely.
phones?
Absolutely.
That's
None of that is allowed until the most important things are done. So that would be your schoolwork, or then if you have a job, tending to anything that needs to be done with that. Because that is all, that's for fun.
So they come home.
Mostly.
So parents, tell me this: do your kids come home? You put them to chores. You put them
Yeah.
through chores like we all had to do. You have them do their homework. Then they get their phones.
Yeah.
They
The
can't
last
have their
thing they
phone before
get.
that.
Yeah.
So do you set boundaries, by the way? And again, you could be weighing in live now, or you can, when you do #replay, weigh in, watching later tonight, and tell us what your feelings are on all this. Because I heard him, and there is a theme that runs
Very
really
much
deep
so.
between each and every one of them that we're going to hear from. And I do hear this a lot though. And I have to say, from an empathetic standpoint, I am an empath, that I feel sorry for them, because across the board, it is, you're lazy, you're lazy, you're lazy. Do you all feel that way? Do you think that this generation is lazy? Do you think that they couldn't make it in another generation? Are you shaking your head? Do you think they are?
They're definitely labeled for sure.
Oh, you say yes. They're labeled, but do you agree with that comment?
No.
Because I think it's disrespectful.
I think they bring some of that on themselves, like,
In what way?
and I mean, you think that they think that we think that they're lazy.
Well, it's because they're
But
told that though.
they're told that, but what are you doing with your time?
Richard said it sounds like Gabe needs to focus more on what's important to him. Well, like I said, I was really impressed by him,
Okay.
but I think it's what they hear that's around them. Again, all of you, what are your thoughts on this? Feel free to weigh in. Just type in again. I know you're rushing around in the morning and there's a lot of things going on when you're live. So you might come back to it at lunchtime or later into the evening. But if you can weigh in now, please do so, whether it's Gabriel or the rest of the people that you're going to hear from.
Yeah.
But the reason we started this segment is because I feel bad for the labels put on anyone.
I agree.
Anyone. I don't care what your generation is.
Yeah.
But yes, across the board, the number one thing that I hear is they're lazy.
Yeah.
And the other thing I hear from parents and grandparents is they feel that they are worried that they are our future leaders.
I hear that a lot.
But has this always existed though on every generation? Did your parents and your grandparents go, oh gosh, you're going to be our leaders? We're in a heap of trouble. I love to always use this example. My interns that I've had, which now is probably 6 or 7, we've got 2 new ones coming on from the University of Missouri, Columbia. Every one of them have been hard workers.
Yeah.
And look, they don't want to get up early.
Yeah.
Ask Zach. He directs our show. He's here
That's
every
right.
morning early.
Yeah.
They're driving pretty far in.
Yeah.
I see dedication. So I actually have to speak on their behalf to say, knock it off.
Yeah.
I'm a little tired of hearing that they're lazy. There might be a percentage that are.
For sure.
I think more so what I don't like is that they're showing up, if they're showing up for a job interview, and then they just decide, I'm not going to get back and I'm just going to ghost.
Yeah. The follow through.
That I don't
Yeah.
understand, and I can't wait for that one to go away.
Yeah.
The ghosting has got to stop. But the ghosting runs deep, not just in from a professional standpoint, but then it also goes into the personal side of,
right.
I don't feel like dating this guy anymore or this girl anymore. I'm just going to disappear.
Yeah. And that all starts at home and what the parents are teaching as far as ethics and
You
things
think
like
ghosting's
this.
coming from the parents?
I
Oh,
think
ethics.
it's just the ethics and how you're raised and what you're taught. is respectful.
Yeah, respectful. Yes, because I would be told, no, you're going to get right over to that
That's
kid's
right.
house and you're going to look him in the eye and you're going to
It's the
tell
same
him
thing as
you don't
looking
want to
at
date
it. That's
anymore.
You're not going to text and break up, okay?
Yeah, come on. I mean, have some guts here. Have some morals, have some ethics. I agree with that. Okay, it is 7:20. Is it 7:28? 7:29. 7:28. 7:26. My eyes. I'm telling you, that's why I need these, Jenny. This is what happens
Don't
as you
we
get
all?
older. So, if you're just tuning in, generational talk, okay? And as you're signing on, and I know a lot of you are grabbing and consuming as you can in the morning, I would love to hear what you have to say about what these kids are saying. So we interviewed 5 different students from St. Charles Community College weighing in on what they wish other generations would understand about their generation. Let's hear another one.
Hi, my name is Landry Barnfield, and I'm a student here at SCC. I wish that people would know about our generation is that we actually are hardworking. We sometimes get the reputation that we are lazy and we're just always on our phones, but we are actually hardworking and we put in the work to be able to be successful in the future.
Okay, see, what did we say about the theme? They are being told left and right. And here's what I'm going to say. When you are somewhat bullied, and I'm going to say it's a form of it because it really is labeling and shouting. I mean, that's how they're hearing it, that they might be told once, you're lazy. Hey, you're lazy, kid. And then it's over and over and over and over again. When you hear something so much, if you give power to it, guess what?
It's who you become.
Become it, folks. Do you agree with that comment that I'm saying? As a life coach, that is what I see. And they're all going to end up becoming my clients.
Yeah.
Oh, that's job security.
Job security. You got this.
I want it to be understood that when you say it over and over and over again. Now, look, there is a lot of power given to parents and to teachers in the education system of a child being told you're dumb, you're lazy, you're never going to become anything. And that's all they hear. That's all they hear. Oh, I just got chill. Over and over and over again. And then it becomes, well, I don't believe in myself. When we try to empower them. And these students that listened to me on stage that day was all about, I believe in you. Do you believe in yourself?
That's right. I mean, my oldest has gone through this. So I am a parent that sees it from that side of all of that. And
She's gone through it from school?
Being told both school, sports. Yeah, it's been rough. And as a parent, you're constantly trying to rebuild them for what they think that they are.
Oh, good point.
Because it's being drilled into their head of who that person thinks that they are, but they're not.
So they get broken down somewhere else and you have to mend them and put the pieces back
together.
together.
I tell her, I'm like, this is not that's someone else's opinion.
Yeah.
And that is none of your business and that is not your identity.
How many times have you been, or I don't know if you've all heard that statement, but what Jenny just said, when it hurts your heart so much and hurts your soul so much, you have to come back to the comment, what others are saying about you is none of your business.
Right.
When you can actually understand what that means, and I'm going to let you marinate on that. We're going to hear from a few others. We're going to take a break, but I'm going to say that one more time. What others are saying about you at other tables, at other walks, is none of your business. And the more you don't give that power, the better off you're going to be in life.
Right.
It is really true. And I know it's hard as humans because you want to wait, what did so-and-so say about me?
Yeah.
Well, this hurts, but they can only hurt if you give them power.
Right.
I know it's a hard place to get to, and that's the reason why we do our coaching. But when we can take you there and you literally can put up this wonderful bubble around you and this armor of it'll literally bounce off of you and go back to their negativity, they'll move on to someone else that they can take advantage of.
Right. And it's always, like I tell my kids, this has everything to do with them and nothing with you.
Yeah.
Insecure people are like that. Hurt people.
Yes.
You know?
Jealousy, insecurity runs rampant. So again, generational talk, round 3. We've got 3 more students to hear from. Let them talk, then let us weigh in, and hopefully together we can bridge the gap of a breakdown in communication and have more respect between the generations. All right, don't go anywhere. And welcome back. Thanks again for tuning in to the Real Monica Adams Show. Hope you're having a great start to your Tuesday. So we just started into generational talk, and I brought Jenny on with me. So she's one of all of you that I want to weigh in on this. I can have my say, but I want to hear what you have to say also. So far, we've heard from a couple of the students over at St. Charles Community College, and they truly are representing many of the same theme. Your daughter weighed in. She didn't go on camera for us, but what did your daughter say?
She just said that we don't understand. We don't understand the stress that they go through. We don't understand how much pressure is on them between school and sports. And I was like, no, we did that too.
We've been there.
We felt that. Like, I think it's just, they're a very emotional generation.
Oh, okay. That would be another good one. What do you think about that? For those of you that are younger, do you agree with that comment from our generation so you think they're more emotional?
I do. I just feel like they're more sensitive. They just, to where I was taught, like, get back up and keep going. You know, like,
suck it up, buttercup.
No tears.
My husband makes this comment, and he says this statement all the time. He says that they're too soft.
They are very. I mean, my husband's in management. He has younger employees, and he goes through the same thing sometimes. Like, he's got to build them up. Like, you got this, buddy. Keep going.
I will say, I mean, again, what do you all think? I will say that I have seen from the workforce to personal relationships to our military to our first responders that they have to be treated different. And oh my gosh, will they be able to handle this? I mean, our military's even changed. You can't yell at them.
I mean, even back in the day, you would have never have thought about calling in sick because your muscles hurt or you're just too tired or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's a thing.
And we're letting them get away with it.
Of course.
So as a world, so how do we break that? I'm not saying that it has to, I don't know. The generations 2 before us, if not 3 before us, I truly believe we're the most incredible, strong people ever. Read in history what they went through. And so do I think that this generation could handle that right now? No, but they're going to come back and say, but the world's different and you didn't have this going on.
But they are really good at a lot of things that we are not also.
Technology.
Like the phones and the computers, like it's overbearing. But someone like me, they know way more on that side of things than what I do.
Well, that should boost their confidence then.
So I do think that they have a very special place of things and reason that we can't bring to the table as easily.
We haven't brought that up before, but that's true. So are they willing to not mock and make fun of an older generation because they're not as fast, or do they hold that over you? Because
I think they hold that over us. Again, be strong on that one.
All of you, what do you think? Feel free to weigh in on any of this. Okay, I loved this girl, and you have she's like a kindred spirit with this one. Let's hear from her.
Hello, my name is Nadia Coper, and I go to SCC. And something I wish the older generation knew about our younger generation, I just wish people understood that we don't need the required experience. Sometimes it's just we have the skills, like just letting us just get the job and just letting them start out without that required experience. You're going to get actual valuable employee.
Okay. So you only saw a little bit of it. We have some bloopers and outtakes that we're going to show you in just a bit.
It's so good. She's a doll.
So Nadia, what was her name? Yes. Nadia, and then we also have heard from Landry and from Gabriel so far. Well, we still have Lyle coming up, and I forget the other guy, Isaac. Lyle and Isaac are still coming up with their comments. Okay, wait till you see the bloopers of her, because that was the part that we all laughed so hard on stage. She's a kindred spirit to you because you like to do what? Talk with your hands. You'll understand in just a second. Okay, so this one I got to sit with for a second. That's interesting to me what she just said. So I'm going to relate this to me getting into television and radio for that matter. But going from radio to television, all I was ever told back then was that you had to be an anchor for 5 years before you could be an anchor, folks. Okay, so it didn't compute in my brain. And it was, well, how in the heck am I ever supposed to do this? So I think it really was that you have to be given an opportunity in a very small market, which I had started in a small market. I was starting in Festus. I didn't have to leave town, thankfully, but I started in Festus, Missouri, and then worked my way into St. Louis and worked for a country music station and worked for KMOX, 2 legendary stations. And then I, dug my heels in and worked. But then I transitioned to TV and almost like it went backwards. Well, I wanted to anchor really bad at Channel 2. And it was, well, but you have to have anchor experience. And I said, I did for 12 years in radio. To me, and actually they've changed that now. So I honestly have to say, Nadia, I think it's gotten easier that now it's, oh yeah, you can do this, depending on what the field is.
Yeah.
But her comment, do you all hear what she's saying? Her comment was that we don't need the experience, that we have skills and we should just be given the opportunity to do this. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't know. This is kind of a tough one, really, for me. But I see it from a sense of, you used to have all these degrees to be able to get a job. And so many people were so talented for that position. But just because they didn't have that degree, they were not an option.
Yeah.
To where I think she's saying from a standpoint of, we are very talented. Give us a chance. We don't need all these degrees to be able to show you how talented we are and what we can bring to your business.
Okay, well, doesn't that fall into the comment? So here you go, everybody. Does that fall into the comment of entitlement? That's where it comes from, by the way, Nadia. People feel like, wait a minute.
And that's not a bad thing towards them. It's just.
But you got, to me, I mean, I love all the comments that are coming in from these kids and from whatever generation you are, but to feel that you don't have to pay your dues,
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever going to make sense to me. And
Yeah.
so as a boss, I would have to say you got to pay your dues. You got to put in the work.
I agree with that. I mean, that's the same thing as like my husband's job. Back years ago when he went through the apprenticeship program, he was gone from Melissa and I every single night. He'd work all day, then he would leave and he would go to the apprenticeship school.
Right.
Now, at his company, the apprenticeship school is part of your work day.
Yeah.
Like that is what you do. You go and you get paid for that.
Okay, I'm going to look at Richard and Zach's comment in just a second. Weigh in on this. Do you think that the generation now, that they shouldn't have to put in the work? So I'm going to also relate it to my husband. My husband's a lieutenant with the county police. Do you think that we should just have them go straight out there and be in charge of running after the bad guy without going through the academy?
I mean, it's scary.
But that's what she said she's feeling. And I don't know if any other ones that are her age feel the same way, that we don't want to have to waste our time going through and putting in all this work. We just want to be given the job because, as she's saying, they have the skills. But where did the skills come from?
And what's your thoughts on, like, is that job specific, career specific? Like some careers should be more lenient than other careers? What's your thoughts?
Nadia, I wish you were here right now and we can go a little bit deeper with this. I don't know. So Zach's weighing in and Richard's weighing in. So if you are of that generation, or do me a favor, and Joy's weighing in. Okay, let's get to some of their comments before we go on to a couple of others. This is what I want from you. Because again, sometimes we hit a nerve here and people are like, whoa, whatever, kid, you got to put in. Okay, but then I do want, if your kids are at home, and I know a lot of times this time of the day, so come back to this. Please do me a favor. Have your kids watch this afternoon, right? Ask them. Or, maybe they have their phones with them. And I still think it's crazy that they get texts throughout the day while they're in school. But if you want them to weigh in on this and say, this is what Monica was talking about today. Jenny mentioned this. What are your thoughts on it? Tell them to go a little bit deeper into that comment by Nadia. So Richard says, basically, she's saying, give me the job with no experience and then I'll learn the job. I don't think it works that way. Okay, that's Richard. Zach says, if this generation is too soft compared to previous generations, where do you think that came from? It had to be taught and learned from somewhere. Okay, so you're saying that it may be coming from home. Zach, I kind of agree about not needing the degree for some jobs nowadays. A lot of skills can be learned online and on YouTube. Okay, so let's sit with that one for a second. So from a educational standpoint, and I'm not wanting to at all break down our education system because I do think we need to be educated. In fact, I think that we are students of life every single day, and you should be. You should never think that you've learned it all in your craft because guess what? Right here where you think you're at the top of your ladder, someone's getting ready to do this. and knock you off because they're a harder worker. They want to continue. I mean, look, I got my education. I continue to get certifications.
right.
I will continue to go, oh, wait, let me learn more of this.
We just had this discussion last night at home.
Well,
Yep.
let's use another part of what I do. So as a personal trainer, I got my degree back when I was in college and then got my first certification in 1999 and continued to get more and more and more. And now I look at the new trainers that are coming in and what they're learning, whether it's through AFA or ACE or National Association of Sports Medicine or ACSM or any of them, and they're teaching new ways.
Yeah.
So you should always be wanting to have more education and learn. Do I think there's street smarts and skills that can get you in? Yes. But at that point, and maybe this is what she's saying, Richard and Nadia, maybe this is what she's saying of, hey, we've got some skills, just give us the opportunity. We're not saying we want to have the president's job.
Yeah.
We'll work up the ladder. I hope they're willing to do that, but they're wanting the job.
That's right.
I just love the fact that they want a job.
They just need to understand also, though, that in today's society and the way the careers are, as competitive as, different career paths are and stuff, you're always going to have to continue to take education to keep up with the different trends and to keep up with the newest and latest of whatever's in your industry, whether it be contracting, whatever. You always are going to have to do that continued education. So if you're not willing to do it now,
good luck.
Right out of the gates, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Joy, let's see what Joy had to say. Joy says, today's world is filled with instant gratification thanks to Google and YouTube videos. No longer term research needed. But watching a video is different from experience. I do see more entitlement, from a younger generation. That entitlement word and the lazy word, those are the two biggest things that and labeling, right? Labeling nonstop. But I'd like to hear, what do they label us as?
Old people.
And that was the other thing. I'm so glad you said that. That was another thing. So there was a woman that came up. So again, if you're just tuning in, we talked to some students at St. Charles Community College last week, and I taped 5 of them, and they're weighing in on several things that they feel about their own generation. Zach, by the way, is in their generation, so Zach can keep commenting also.
Don't call me old.
No, but that is what one of the women said that was on stage after they spoke and they were listening to them. She came on and she goes, okay, from this generation, I'm going to ask you not to call us old. And I was like, from a respect standpoint, but they don't actually hear that coming out of their mouth.
No.
I was like, do me a favor and say, in the generations that came before me.
And don't call us elders.
Okay. Well, that's another thing from a generation standpoint. Okay, I'm going to weigh in on our generation. Do you have a problem being called ma'am?
I think it's weird.
Oh, I think it's respectful.
You do?
I do.
Well, I'll start calling you ma'am.
No, it's not an old, but it all is how you perceive a word. Do you all think it's bad to call somebody sir or ma'am? Do you not want to have a door held open for you?
Okay, now that I agree with, and I think that's different. I mean, it goes back to the same thing as what we talk about all the time, looking each other in the eyes and having that eye-to-eye contact.
Right.
Same thing.
Okay, so from and I'm just gonna we're gonna throw this in there, and then we've got 2 more of the students that we're gonna hear from. Sindra, Cheryl, let's see, Adita. I'll get to your comment in just a second. Again, the more of you that are coming on, and we'll stay on with this for a little bit longer if you want us to. Weigh in on this. So far, if you've missed the beginning of the show, we have heard that one said, we really are hard workers. We're not lazy. We just have distractions. Okay, that was what Gabriel said. And then, was it Landry? Let me look back here.
I think so.
Yeah, Landry. So she was saying that we're not lazy. So they're hearing that they're lazy. They're hearing that they're entitled. They're hearing these labels. So in a form, I think it's an aspect of bullying. We just came to do you want to be called ma'am? Do you want to be called sir? Do you think that's an old thing, that it makes you sound old and that you have to be a certain age to be called ma'am? The holding the door thing, I'm just going to say this. It is a respectful thing. And women, let someone open the door for you.
That's right.
Don't think that it is. But I've heard women say, I can open my own door, right? It's this whole...
Lots of independence.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. It's a respect thing. That's not why someone's doing it. So here's what happened. I was going into church. It was church. Okay. And I went like this and I went to open the door and this young girl, she's probably in her 19, 20, 21. She just went straight in.
Yeah.
And this is does this happen to all of you? Out of your mouth, you go, you're welcome. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to teach. I'm not being snarky. You're welcome, by the way. What should have happened as you walked through that door that I held open for you was the words, thank you. I'm going to say this comes back to parents. It comes back to...
It all starts at home.
It does. You've got to instill respect in them. Thank you. You're
Yeah.
welcome. It's kindness. This is what we're trying to do.
That's why I always say, if you can't talk to each other like that at home, how are you talking to other people
And
outside of the home?
what does your future hold, by the way? I
Right.
mean, yeah. Okay, so let's go back here. We've got a couple others that we're going to weigh in with. How about age discrimination? Maybe I should have used Botox. What? Cheryl, what are you talking about? What? Age
Maybe
discrimination.
she could look younger if she would have used it.
Cheryl, can you?
Is she being called old?
She's smiling. Maybe I should have used Botox. Age discrimination. Are you talking about the fact that they're saying old? Tell me more about that. Go a little bit deeper into that. Syndra, I think it should be depending on the career. Okay, so she's going back to what Jenny said.
Okay.
One example would be a chef. Okay, good. And speaking of which, we are going to feature, I called him chef and he's like, you can't call me chef. I didn't go to school. And I was like, well, see.
Okay, but he's amazing.
Thank you. And this is good for us to be saying that I almost want to give him an honorary
He
chef.
deserves that title.
Well, because he put in the hard work.
That's right.
And he took everything he knew from growing up
I
in
tell you what,
Sicily.
he is one of the hardest working business owners that doesn't have that background that I know that I would have never have guessed that of him.
Again, so he had the chef jacket on and everything. And I was like, chef, he goes, no, Monica, I'm not a chef. And I
He's
said,
so
well, to me, you
awesome.
are. Who are we talking about? Giuseppe. Trattoria Giuseppe. Have you ever heard of him, by the way? I like to put people on the map sometimes because it's these unique little gems, even though coming up in the fall, it will be 19 years.
That's crazy.
Oh, I cannot wait. We are going to be featuring so much on a Foodie Friday. So it's a brand new segment that we're kicking off. It will become Fashion and Food Fridays. But we started with Mama Jackie last week.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen that, we want you to go back and watch that show because it was a blast. And I know a lot of you like the combination of my mom and I. Why do you think you like the combination of my mom and I, by the way?
Because she cracks you up.
And we have respect.
She's funny.
But-
Oh yeah, and your relationship is fantastic.
Yes.
That is something that people dream of having.
Yep.
That most people don't have and people wish that they had.
And trust me, I don't take that for granted. I mean, at all. The blessings that I have from that. But yeah, so she and I started. We had a lot of fun. We made some stuffed peppers. But this time we're with Giuseppe. So you will not want to miss Friday morning show. If you can't catch it live, be sure to watch it later because you're going to see how to make the best filet ever. We're going to make chicken caratrese. Am I going to get you hungry here? We're going to make penny gorgonzola. We're going to make mussels and shrimp, and we're going to have Zach try a mussel for the very first time in his life.
See. I heard it was good.
Arancini.
Yeah.
Some incredible asparagus. I could go on and on. And then chicken spadini. We're gonna make all of that, by the way, in an hour.
He's just fantastic.
How do you do all that in an hour, though?
I don't know.
I need
It's
the
because
skills.
he's amazing.
He also probably has help prepping, which Mama Jackie and I did not have. Because Michelle said something like, "Oh, you guys
We need to
probably
hire
should
you a
have
sous
cut the
chef."
Thank you." She was like, "You probably should have cut the peppers in advance." I'm like, "Yes, that would have been great." But you know what? We were thrown into
Hey, Michelle can be your sous chef.
Yay, Michelle! There we
She's
go.
good at restaurant stuff.
Okay, one example would be a chef, Sandra says. Sometimes I think you're better to go in just to get hands-on because you already have a taste in an eye for what you're creating. Okay,
I agree.
All right.
I like that.
Okay, Aditya. Hold on. Oh, are we back? Oh, that was weird. Okay,
That
so
was
sorry.
weird.
We lost you all for a second. So we're weighing in generational talk, round 3. And again, the students from St. Charles Community College have been weighing in. And the overall theme was that older generations, the generations before them, instead of calling them old. I was like, you can call older generations, just don't say the old people.
That's right. Please.
Out of respect, don't say that. So what do we feel about the other generations? And they're saying that we label them as lazy and entitled and that they don't have to put in the work. So if you want to weigh in on this, we are looking at your comments. Looking at your comments. So Sindra just made hers. Rose, our kids always tell us things. Money do you think I made? Zach, how about you weigh in on it? Zach, what do you think I made? And Zach can either shout out to me in the hallway or he can pop in. He said $8,000 a year. What do you all think I made?
Oh, I think that's a good guess. Maybe slightly high.
What was slightly higher than that?
Or no, I
that
think 18 was
18,000?
maybe slightly high.
What about all of you? What do you think? You can weigh in now or weigh in when you're watching later. $18,000 a year. Do you think it was that? Do you think it was 25? Do you think it was 19? What do you all think? So my first job in radio, which was in Festus, Missouri, for my first 2.5 years of my career, I made $12,500. Is that what you were going to say?
I was going to say 13, 14.
Okay, so 2.5 years. By the way, we'll go back to Nadia's comment about we got the skills.
Wow, really?
Okay, second job in radio. How much do you think I made? And after 2.5 years of putting in hard work, and I do mean, here's the deal.
Okay.
Here was the crazy thing. So we had to work. My mom always laughs at this. We had to work our regular hours. And then if we put in overtime, we got paid half time. Somebody finally filed a complaint and was thinking that we were going to get money back. No, they actually cited in their favor. And I'm like, how is this possible?
Yeah.
Isn't this illegal?
Yeah.
We were getting half pay for overtime. It was the craziest thing ever. It made no sense to any of us. But $12,500 after literally working about 70 to 80 hours a week. Okay, so for the younger generation, are you willing to put that kind of time in? Next job in radio. You didn't know that?
I mean,
now do you understand why I work as hard as I do?
Comprehend that.
No, but again, Rose was just saying that, the comment was that other generations, younger generations say, but things were cheaper. But nobody got paid any money back then. I mean, if you think about, they hear their parents or grandparents say that they bought houses and that the houses were $10,000 or $15,000. Yes, but that's the equivalent of $100,000 plus now, because of the way life was back then.
That's why they can't understand why we're freaking out about egg prices right now.
Right. They're like, just buy it, Mom.
Just buy the dang egg.
it. So what do you think I made in my second job?
I would say maybe 16,
15.
18. Okay.
15.
All right.
12,500. I went up.
Yeah.
Positive. I'm always looking at positive. $15,000. I then worked for WIL after 3 years of being in the business. And what do you think it was then?
I would say 18 to 19.
Okay. No, it finally did come up.
Yeah. Oh,
35.
Oh, that's a huge jump.
Well, that's because finally I went and got into the St. Louis market, which back then, by the way, and that's the other thing that changes, St. Louis was in the top 20 markets.
Oh, yeah.
Not anymore. It's
Not
flipped.
anymore. Yeah.
So $35,000.
What is it now? Do you know?
We're in like the mid 20s. So $35,000. But here's what happened. All around me, everybody else was making a lot more. I didn't know that. I didn't have an agent at the time. And so my boss, God love Eric Hellum, shout out to you. Eric comes back, and when he takes me from doing news to being the morning show host with my other two co-hosts and doing news on the side, he said, "You are not making enough." And I was like, oh, that's nice to hear.
Great.
Finally, someone who believes in you.
Yeah.
And he said, the problem is you are so far from where you should be paid that there's no way I can jump you up to here, because corporate will be like, whoa, what's happening?
Yeah.
So he had to inch me up. But here's somebody who believes in you and goes, I'm going to help you, kid.
He knew your value.
He did. Right here. Why do you think we started this? I know my value, and I hope you do as well. If not, this is what we try to teach you. Okay, let's come back here. So, Joy, age discrimination, assuming anyone over 59 or 55 is too old to work. Oh, okay. Too set in their ways and not open to new ideas. Oh, that's
interesting.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. I never really.
So maybe that's what Cheryl was saying, and that's why she said something about maybe I should use Botox. Gotcha. Okay, now it's computing in my brain.
That's
no,
like
don't use Botox.
the Netflix series Younger. Have you watched that?
I don't, girl, you know I don't watch TV.
Okay. Well, it's all about that. She
Age discrimination?
lies. She can't get a job as, I think, as a news editor, maybe of some sort. She lies about her age. She gets stuck in her 20s that she lies and she tells people they are so she can get this job as a reporter.
What's it called? Younger?
Younger. And then this lie just keeps snowballing. And then she finally gets busted.
I was going to say the lie will always come back and bite you in the butt.
But she held on to it just
for a little while.
It's good.
So yeah, no, you don't need to do Botox. And if someone doesn't understand your value and the hard work, then they don't deserve you. Okay. All right, we're going to come back to more comments. Keep them coming in, but let's hear from a couple of others. Here's Isaac.
Hello, my name's Isaac Reagan, and I'm the student at SEC. And I just wish one thing the older generation knew about my generation was that there's very many ways to get rich, and a lot of people telling you ways to get rich. But sometimes it comes off as overwhelming because of so many different ways to do it. But I feel like if there was laid out paths, it could help the younger generation get to where they're trying to be.
All right, Isaac. Is Isaac just trying to get the get rich quick scheme? I don't know.
mean,
That one, I don't know. When he said it, and we all kind of looked at him, because I think that one, I wish he was here so he can, I need more context to that comment.
I
What do
actually
you think
laughed
Isaac's
when I
saying?
watched-
You laughed?
I
Right.
just think he just wants the money. I don't
Show
know.
me the money. He
don't
wants to
know.
play the lottery and win.
I mean, we're still all trying to figure that out. So if he figures it out, he should let us know.
By the way, it was a group filled with an auditorium filled with entrepreneurial spirit. And I will say this. I love the fact that they're teaching that now because you are seeing more.
Yeah.
Now, this is interesting because you can go back in other generations and entrepreneurship wasn't even in their mind.
That's
it
right.
was you get a job and you're going to have a boss, not you're going to be your own boss.
Yes.
So that definitely has shifted.
It has.
As opposed to, 10, 20, 50, 100 years ago.
I
So they're
agree.
now teaching that in school, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
But his comment was interesting to me that I was like, wait, I don't understand. You just want to get rich. Like, you don't even want a job.
Just right out of the gate.
And I'm sorry, Isaac, if I'm wrong, but that's how it came across. Is that how it came across to you?
It did. It did. But you know what? More power to him.
You got to play the lottery. I mean,
don't know.
or I don't know, somebody in your family, you're going to have to say, give me some money. But you have to put in the hard work and then
I
know
feel
your
like
value to
maybe
get your
he
money.
meant something deeper. He just couldn't find his
What
word.
was it?
I don't know.
What do you all think? What did Isaac mean there? And then we're going to hear from Lyle in just a second. Okay, let's go back here. Rose, my son has a degree, pays on it, but still has no career job, but works a lot, is not lazy, just not ready for the real world. Been a year and a half. What about that, Jenny? She says, what about that, Jenny?
I don't know.
I don't know. So there's people that get an education, and I understand where that comes from.
I know a lot of people that have gone through very expensive college
And still don't have a job.
They don't even do anything to do with that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother show of how many people go into a particular degree and then end up seeing that I can actually make more money over here.
Yeah.
I mean, my brother had a biology degree and ended up going, I can make more money as a UPS driver and have incredible benefits.
And then you go back to what he's saying. He's following the money, which I guess maybe that's what they're doing. I
He
don't
just
know.
said, show me the money. Okay. Michelle says, I do have great knife skills.
She does, Michelle.
How do
it's
you know? Have you seen her
She's-
cook?
No, you told me.
I've never seen her.
Or maybe
do
she
that.
told me.
She says it.
She said it. Michelle, sous chef, it's you.
Yeah, come on, because we don't have time. I ain't got time for that. Richard, I knew a girl in radio once. She made as much money going on live remotes as she did salary from the radio station. Okay, and I know who you're talking about, Richard, by the way. That is very true. So I had my salary, but then as you have businesses that want you to do testimonials for them, they're called live reads, or they want you to come and do remotes at their business, all of that is where you made the money.
Yeah.
And so I look at the most money I ever made in radio, and I looked at my salary and I was like, oh gosh, that all came from
Yeah.
live reads. Yeah. So there are bonuses and benefits and things like that that I hope in your field that you get a chance to get. So Cheryl's back on again. Cheryl, that's probably what you meant about the age discrimination thing.
Cheryl, that's great.
We've got Lyle, and then you don't want to go anywhere because we want you to see the bloopers, which was the best
Please
of the entire
do not
day.
go anywhere. Just come back for just one. So good.
So Lyle, by the way, and I was asking all of the ones I had a chance to talk to afterwards what they were going into. Lyle wants to go into law enforcement.
Oh.
Which is a good thing because we need more of that.
Yeah.
And you're seeing that less and less and less, which
Yeah.
scares you
Yeah, it does.
because then it becomes, well, who's going to be out there taking care of us? The true heroes. So here's Lyle.
My name is Lyle Hart, and I'm a student here at SEC. One thing that I'd want the older generation to know about me and my generation is that things are different now, and the things that are different now, I am working through on my own. And even though the advice is helpful, things aren't exactly the same as they were in the older generations.
So this is what we'll talk about. Generational talk on The Real Monica Adams Show. Okay, so he's saying that things are not exactly the same as they used to be and that they're working through them. Well, that's a good thing that Lyle actually said that because others that we see in a younger generation, and see how I say younger generation and not you stupid kids, right? It's respect. So the younger generation or the generation that's growing up right now, that they're misunderstood. Is that kind of the theme what you got from Alyssa?
It's absolutely.
That they're misunderstood.
Yes. We just don't get it.
So I think that that's literally, we should change what, how it's Gen X, Gen Z, millennials, et cetera,
Right.
that I think they should be labeled the misunderstood generation. Well, there I go with labels. And I think it is true that we just need to get them to talk a little bit more. We need to get them out of the phones. And so this is going to go back to what I used to say every day on my radio show years ago. And I still feel the same way. You got to get back to the table.
Yeah.
I think I want to write a book about this, that everything that is solved in life is solved at the dinner table.
Yeah.
But how many of you don't have dinner with your kids anymore?
See, even if we're on the run, we still take the time. Like I always ask my kids, what's your high of the day? What's your low of the day?
And they
then
tell
we can
you?
talk through, all the time.
Do you have dinner?
Yeah. Yes.
Together as a family?
Even if we don't, we still take 5 to 10 minutes every day
Good
and
for
we
you.
have a tack. So even
Good
if
mama.
it's like we're gone at sports, we all come home at the same time every night. So we'll sit in the family room and we'll talk for 5, 10 minutes.
All right. So this
it's
is
important.
Whatever it is that you want to take from today, and we're going to laugh together in the bloopers in just a second, but take something from today. Take this, by the way, do me a favor, share like crazy. It's the biggest thing that you can do for us. Share the show, like and follow so that you get notified when we're going on the next day. But if you learned anything, it is to communicate, to show respect to one another, get back to the table. And I'm not going to say that you force, because it's kind of a bullying mentality. I'm not forcing your kids to talk, but somehow relate to them, get them to relate to you so that they are speaking. Because there's too many times where you see parents say, well, I didn't know that my kid was suffering through this. It's because you didn't take the time to talk to
Well,
them.
it's also because you need to be an ear and not a voice all the time. You
just
don't
listen.
always need to have, as parents, we feel like we always have to get the last word or we always have to give our advice. And sometimes it's just letting them talk and listen to them, that they feel like they're being heard, that they in turn can hear themselves talking their thoughts out loud.
Good point.
And be able to redirect their own thoughts of like, oh, that sounded kind of silly, or oh, maybe I should do this.
Yep.
Or I know Alyssa, a lot of times I'll hear from other people, they'll say, oh, Alyssa talks so highly about her mom because her mom's her best friend. Alyssa would never tell me that. But it's because I just sit and I just let her talk. And sometimes she'll go upstairs to her room and she'll randomly fly down the stairs and she'll have this outburst of a conversation for 30 seconds and then she's gone again. But I heard it.
Yep.
And then maybe later I can say, well, what did you think? What was your solution?
Because there was
Or
some
what-
time lapse for you and them to
don't
hear.
always have to have the words right then and there. I have a wonderful friend by the name of Summer who is an amazing mom. And she always says, let me think about that
Yep.
and I'll get back to you. And
Good.
I always admire her for that because we don't always have to have the words right then and there. Give the time to be still and to think their thoughts out. And, then they can start to form their opinions on their own. And by your guidance as a parent, it all works hand in hand. And that's why I say it always starts at home. The most important work you will ever do is
at home.
within the walls of your home.
Well, home and in school. It's the two places where things go wrong or they go right. But I love the fact that you talked about being still and being able to know time to listen. And sometimes it goes both ways, though. The person that's talking, maybe you lead into it by saying, I just need you to listen.
Yeah.
And then say it again. I just need you to listen. I don't want to hear your viewpoint.
Yes.
Right now, I just need you to hear me. I
right.
want to be heard. Then they can come back and say, okay, what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes people just need to get it out. You need a sounding board.
And sometimes if it's something that's working you up or creating anxiety in your life, you need that time to just chill, right?
Be
So
still.
you have just level thoughts.
Or as they said in one of my favorite movies of all time, Julia Roberts and Pretty Woman.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just lay like vegetables and be
That's right.
still.
Right. Let's go do that today.
Let's
just
veg
boil
out.
vegetables.
All right, we're going to take a break. This is what we said. You've got to hear the bloopers from yesterday because we had such a blast and all the things that, and this is it's the behind the scenes stuff, everything that led up to their such wonderful, poignant questions and comments that they made at St. Charles Community College. And all the students, by the way, that were there and were listening, thank you for taking the time to weigh in because, you're being raw and you're being honest and you're laying it out there for us to comment
And we
on.
value your opinion.
Yes, we absolutely do. Respect and kindness. The greatest thing that you can do. Okay, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, the bloopers. You don't want to miss it.
Hey guys, I just want to tell you, being on the Monica Adams show has just been a delight. It's been a joy. What she's doing for the community is amazing. I'm so proud to be sitting in this blue chair, being honored and honoring the people for the showcase that I'm doing for the Neiman Marcus Black Creatives in the Lou Black History Month Showcase. I want to end this segment with a poem that I wrote. I grew up on the north side. That's where it all started. Dreams, goals, and aspirations grew within me, and they never departed. You see, my environment was jaded, but that never fazed me, because what my parents instilled in me made my dreams go crazy. Mama was my cheerleader, and Papa gave me the tools. Everything could be yours, they would say. Just make sure you follow these rules. Work hard, don't look back, and keep your mind set on stable. And if you can't find yourself somewhere to sit, create your own table. Thank you, Monica, for creating this table. Take care. Be blessed.
And welcome back once again. If you're just tuning in and you missed the entire show, go back and watch it, consume it, think about it, and talk about it. It's the greatest thing you can do is when the kids come home, ask them about these things, because this is what they're saying.
That's right.
So these 5 students are their voice, and maybe they haven't said that to you, but this is what they're feeling. The weight on their shoulders is that they feel that you feel that they're lazy, entitled, that they don't want to put in the hard work. And while there is a percentage of them that feel that way, it's not all of them. So again, we're on multiple platforms. You can find the platform that works for you. We had a couple of guys that pulled up yesterday for the shoot we were doing, and they said, hey, where's this show going to be? And I started to ramble off all the different social media, and they're like, no, we're not on social media. I'm like, oh, YouTube. Right? There's a reason why we're on so many different platforms so that you can find the one that works for you. So today we have been talking on so many levels of generations connecting together. I want to give a shout out to Cooking with Paula. She is in Chianti in Italy. So I love the fact that
So fun.
we've got this big audience, obviously in St. Louis, Missouri, and throughout Illinois, but we keep growing in states and countries away. And so thank you, by the way, for all of you that tune in and pop in and out. I mean, I know you're busy, but come back and watch the entire show in its entirety. You don't want to miss this part. So here's the bloopers, by the way, from our talk on Friday at St. Charles Community College.
All right, I'm Gabriel Bell. I'm a
Wait. Where's the microphone? He needs.
Oh yeah, because I can project, but
Okay,
all right.
Hello, my name is Nadia Coper. I'm a student here at SCC. And something I wish the older generation knew about our generation when it comes to job opportunities is when they want that required experience, just letting.
Do it again. Don't move around. You gotta
Sorry. When they want somebody, okay, is sorry.
That we want to use our hands.
Yes, I love to explain with my hands. No, but
I love that.
sorry.
Good job, guys. Is that right?
I love her.
So we started it, and I gave them a couple of microphones, and then Gabriel just started talking. He was like, I can project, though. And then we gave him the microphone, obviously. But Nadia, it was the most fun because she started, and I've never seen that before. Yes, I see people talk with their hands, but again, I would have thought that she would have realized you got a microphone in her hand, and she was like this. I'm like, there goes the mic.
Yeah.
There goes the mic. There it
So
goes
funny.
again.
I laughed the whole time.
I know. Well, we were cracking up
So
on
good.
stage, and then it finally became that everybody on the stage kept laughing. Once I called her on, I was like, can you start over? Because you keep doing this, which means we can't hear you. It's
And I
over
kept saying,
there.
I feel you, girl.
So then I wanted to just tie her hands, because even when she started back up and she went like this, and she was like, oh.
So funny. She even did it at the end, too. She's like, oh.
Again, thank you to each and every one of them. Isaac and Lyle and Gabriel and Nadia and Landry. Those 5 of the 200 students that were there and the faculty, we really did have a good time. And again, so today, I hope that you saw that we can have fun together. We can laugh together, but we can talk it out. And if you do more of that, it really does bring more kindness to our world, which is what we've been trying to do every day for the last 500 plus shows for the last 2 years. All this show is about is how can we bring more kindness into the world? Kindness breeds kindness.
Right.
All right, let's give you a rundown, because Jenny and I have been very hard working on getting things ready. So tomorrow, we're excited. She actually told me, hey, do you know this girl? she has her own charcuterie business. And I was like, no. And I had met her. But when she was 13 years old, she decided to start her own charcuterie business. First of all, what 13-year-old thinks of that?
I mean, and the talent at 13.
Yes. We're not just talking about throwing some salami on a plate and having a Lunchable. We're
Just
talking
wait.
about
It
a
is
true
unreal.
art.
Yes.
And now she's 18, though. So that's the other part of it, that she goes from 13 to 18 and she continues to do this.
Still following her dreams.
And she doesn't just do charcuterie. She makes some incredible
She's a
high-end meals.
personal
Like a chef.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk to Krista Schusler. That's tomorrow's Wet Your Whistle Wednesday. During the day, though, we have 2 shows tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, we are going to talk about tight hamstrings and how those can create back problems. Having a strong core is important, but stretching, doing yoga, doing Pilates, all those things. So Anne asked me to cover that one. We'll do that for you tomorrow morning. So that's coming up for you. We're excited about that. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you
I'm
for
going to
having
let
me.
you pick the devotional.
Oh,
What
again, I
color
get
are
to
you
pick?
drawn to today?
Let's do yellow, bright and happy.
Oh,
It's
we
probably
haven't
not
done that
bright
one.
and happy though. Is
It's
it?
shame.
Freedom. Oh, it's shame.
Yeah, they're all
Oh,
freedom
freedom.
from, right?
That's
So
100 days to freedom.
100 days to freedom from shame. And shame leads to anger, leads to depression, leads to sadness, overeating, all these things. So these books that Stephen Arterburn put together, they
So
really do
good.
all weave together in some
Yeah.
facet.
I'll link them for you.
Fear and anxiety, by the way, is the one that gets chosen
Yeah.
regularly.
Are we done with that one?
No, well, we're
No.
close to being
Yeah.
done, right? So, like this one's on day 37. That one's on, it's pretty much doubled, like 60 something. Hold on, before we read that, Richard said, I have the tightest hamstrings on the planet. I can't wait for tomorrow.
It's for you.
Yes.
Just for
it's
you,
for you.
Richard.
And by the way, since Richard was commenting, let's give him a shout out. The June 21st show that we're doing, we've got about 4 or 5 mobile Monicas that have already been booked over the next couple of months. And if you want our show to bring this audience to you, reach out to me at info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. There it is on the screen. It's the 3rd annual Dudes Playground Poker Run. Get everybody you know together to honor our veterans. Look, if you just want to come out and wait for the poker run to come back and enjoy a great day out, enjoy some good food and entertainment by Dos Amigos, stick around at 9:15 for the Sparklers display, a really beautiful Sparklers display that they're going to have. As he says at the bottom there, we get it. Why? Because he is a veteran himself and he knows what they've been through. We don't. They've been on the front lines of things that we can't even imagine what they've seen, but we have to thank them. And how do we thank them? We give them the money for this respite, this incredible place that Richard Melching from Dudes Playground has provided to these veterans to escape for the day, to go fishing and to be around like-minded individuals and the camaraderie that they have. So we're talking motorcycles, Jeeps, Corvettes,
All cars welcome.
Mustangs. I don't care what it is, classic cars, whatever, your little Volkswagen Bug.
That's right.
Come on out. Everybody's welcome to that. June 21st, we're starting it at noon. We broadcast live from there, and then we're going to go for the first time ever. Jim and I are going on the poker run.
I'm going too.
Yep, it's going to be a blast, by the way. Okay, let's do this. What are you? That's the question. From 100 Days to Freedom from Shame.
Fits perfectly. today.
Answer that. What are you? See how very much our Father loves us, for he calls us his children, and that is what we are. This is 1 John 3, verse 1. So no one wants to be labeled. Oh my gosh, Jenny, could you have picked a better one?
Just
God's
saying.
funny, isn't he? He does this. He told her to pick this. We've talked the whole time about labels.
He
No
knows.
one wants to be labeled. This is not chosen, by the way, until this very moment. I love this. But most of us label others to some extent, even simply by placing people, ready for it, into categories such as millennial. This is great. Soccer mom, cancer survivor, vegan. Some labels might not bother us. Others sting. These kids don't want to be called lazy. Sting when they're thrown away, right? Thrown our way. One is the word hypocrite. If I'm called a hypocrite, I have to stop and ask myself if there's something in my life that would give credence to the charge. If you've done something terrible, now you're battling to overcome the shame, someone's probably called you a hypocrite. And it probably stung worse than any yellow jacket that you ever tangled with, right? The wasps, the bees. You probably hung your head and agreed. You probably felt like you deserved it and that people would see the word emblazoned across your forehead for the rest of your life. What did Jenny and I talk about at the beginning? You hear it, you hear it, you hear it, you become it. If you give them too much power. Understand 2 things. First, these thoughts and feelings come from your enemy, Satan, who is your accuser. He loves nothing more than to try to destroy your hope by constantly throwing your failures in your face. Oh, he's funny. Don't give him power. Second, you're not what Satan says you are. You are what God says you are. God has slapped a label on you too, and it's not hypocrite. It's son or daughter. He calls you his child, and while he may be saddened by your disobedience, he would no more disown you than you would disown your own children when they mess up. Bob Goff said, don't believe the lies that you're defined by your successes or your failures. You're defined by Jesus, and he calls you beloved. So here's your prayer. Lord, thank you for adopting me, for welcoming me into your family, and for not kicking me out when I sinned. Help me to embrace the fact that I'm your child and to live like it from this day forward. Ooh, I love it.
That was
Amen.
good.
Preach.
Love how God works in crazy, crazy ways.
Oh, yes. Richard just said, God touch, right? God touch.
That's right.
I love it. So beautiful. And I can't believe that you chose that one because it was just the most perfect one that could have gone with today's show. Thank you, my friend.
You are welcome.
Knocked it out of the park.
That's
okay.
right.
And thank you again to St. Charles Community College and to those students. And yeah, we look forward to, because I think they probably slept in, looking forward to them seeing the show.
Yep.
And
Hashtag
maybe them
replay.
Yeah. Hashtag replay. Let us know when you watch it a little bit later. Get your kids involved. And I look forward to this one. I think this one's going to have legs to it, and we'll keep commenting for days to come. Everybody have a beautiful day. Enjoy the sunshine because we've got rain to come over the next week or so. So enjoy it. Get out, walk those dogs, walk yourself, get out in nature, listen to the birds, and be still. And be kind. God bless you all. Have a great one.